What is going on, everyone? This is Shine C6113 here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are counting down my top 5 killers who desperately need a rework in Dead by Daylight. Now, of course, this is just my opinion, and this isn't necessarily a list of the weakest killers in the game. Some of these killers can still perform really well in the right hands, especially with certain add-ons. And this is just kind of more about killers whose gameplay has who that I feel has become outdated, repetitive, or just doesn't feel like it's kept up with newer designs that we've seen from behavior. And of course, if you disagree with any of these picks, let me know in the comment section below because I genuinely love to hear your own top 5. But with that being said, let's get into it. Coming in at number 5, we have the Onryo. So, outside of her television as a map traversal and being undetectable while not manifested, she's basically just an M1 killer nowadays. Her teleporting is nice, but once survivors understand how to manage the TVs and the condemned levels, most of your games come down to simply chasing and swinging. And I feel like Sadako Onryo does need something extra. One thing that could be done is giving her a third ability that represents her supernatural powers a little bit more. Like imagine that instead of her circular attack being straight, imagine that being turned 90 degrees and having it a little bit longer, kind of similar to Dracula's Hellfire. Um, that would kind of be instead of her constantly sweeping across in normal arc, she'd be able to extend it several meters. It wouldn't be able to go through any walls or anything crazy, but I'd give her another option besides simply just walking up an M1 and somebody. Or maybe even an alternative, she can temporarily crawl through walls that are thin, similar to how she emerges from televisions in the films, little crawl spaces. Another option could even be allowing her to leave behind some lingering cursed area after teleporting, which would slowly build some more condensed for survivors who remain nearby, similar to like a hag trap. Right now, I just feel like that she's missing something that um yeah, I just feel like that this killer is missing something. Coming in at number 4 then we have the Death Slinger. This might surprise a few people, the Death Slinger. Now don't get me wrong, I actually really enjoy playing this killer, but in terms of trying to win, I feel like every match follows the exact same formula. There's an M1, then a spear, you reel them in, you hit them, they go down, you hook them, and repeat. And that's pretty much every chase. Um, I'd love to see behavior lean into the Deathslinger's lore a little bit more as an inventor. What if he had like multiple gadgets that he could switch between? Like maybe one mode keeps his rifle we know now, while another equips like a modified weapon that creates like temporary barbed wire obstacles or deploys like mechanical traps. Um, or perhaps behavior could even make every coin partially base kit beyond a certain distance. Like if you were to hit like the max possible distance that the Redeemer can go, like that would reward a high skill long range shot by default. Like we've seen killers like Vecna and Dracula receive multiple abilities that do make every chase feel different. And I'd love to see some of that creativity brought back to the older killers like Deathslinger. But do let me know what you do with Deathslinger in the comment sections down below if you were to make any changes with him. Coming in at number 3 then, we have the Wraith. So probably one of the simplest killers in the game. Against newest survivors, the Wraith can do pretty well, whereas against experienced survivors, not so much. Games often become incredibly repetitive. It's run to a pallet, fake the uncloak, survivors throw it, break it, move to the next pallet, repeat. And I have actually had a game on the Red Forest where this lasted for 3 generators, where we just faked the uncloak and we ended up just doing it for the meme in the end. But 3 generators that lasted for before we actually kind of started hitting and running. Eventually, yeah, the game does be kind of become a hit and run with very little pressure with Raid at times. And again, I don't know exactly what behavior should give him, but I think he deserves some sort of other mechanic, like maybe cloak and leaves behind the illusionary versions of like illusionary terror radius that like confuses survivors in that particular area. Maybe uncloaking gives you a short wave dash that would um or sorry, maybe cloaking would give you a short wave dash that would like kind of bring you ahead really, really quickly. Or yeah, or just anything kind of different with Wraith. Um but yeah, whatever it is, I just think Wraith games feel identical, and after 10 years I'd love to see something fresh done with Wraith. Coming in on number two, the Trapper. This one probably won't shock anybody. The Trapper, Dead by Daylight's original killer. I just feel his kit is incredibly outdated now. You still have to spend the opening minutes collecting traps that have spawned in the middle of nowhere. Some of these traps are in complete dead zones, and some are miles away from actually where you want to play in the match. At the absolute minimum, you should spawn with every trap already in your inventory. That change alone would massively improve his early game. And I'd also love to see him being able to do something like throw already set traps onto the ground, like one in every five trap set. He might be given the option to do that. That would be a thing. That would be really cool. I feel like that would let him keep pressure up during chases while still kind of creating dangerous zones. Um, and then, as well as that, you do have like what I like to call mosquitoes who buzz around and disable every single trap that you place down. And sometimes that can feel impossible to build momentum. So they could introduce something like some sort of like tetanus sort of thing where if a survivor continuously disarms traps, they'll end up in the dying state, or they'll end up like temporarily broken for like 60 seconds. I don't know. But yeah, sometimes it can just feel impossible to build momentum when you have mosquitoes buzzing around, disabling every single trap. Now, don't get me wrong, with the right add ons, Trapper can still be terrifying, but it's been 10 years. Behavior, please give Evan something new. But yeah, finally coming in at number one, my pick for the number one killer who desperately needs a rework is Ghostface. Honestly, I feel like Ghostface has fallen off massively. When I first started playing Dead by Daylight over 3 weeks ago, he was one of my absolute favourite killers. But nowadays, with the amount of save pallets, strong loops, and experienced survivors, it can be incredibly difficult to get consistent value. His entire gameplay revolves around stalking for an exposure, and that's it. Once survivors know how to reveal you properly and play around your power, things can become very difficult. I'd love to see behavior introduce something that would make Ghostface feel like an actual horror movie slasher instead of just stalk until you're exposed. Like imagine if he had the ability to like sabotage a generator, and then when a survivor starts repairing that generator, they their hand gets trapped inside that generator, and they either have the option of being freed by another survivor, or they have merciless storm skill checks to get themselves out, or they lose a health state after a certain amount of time if they don't escape. Um, so yeah, I feel like that's something that could be introduced. I don't know. Or even after perhaps for start stalking survivors for long enough in general, not just one survivor, the Ghostface could plant a hidden panic trigger, and that next time a survivor performs a rushed action, the Ghostface would briefly gain undetectable or something along those lines. Um, Another idea might be allowing them to leave like kind of a fake terror radius as well around the map, kind of like the way survivors have the beams of light with the maps. Like it would be nice to be able to just say, right, I'm gonna put my terror radius right here for the next few minutes and have that have that as a base kit ability for your killers that are meant to be scary, like Ghostface. I think that would create a lot of paranoia in mind games for Ghostface and make his gameplay more interesting. Um, Anything that just kind of makes him feel like a terrible hunter, or sorry, not a terrible hunter. I didn't mean to say terrible. A terrifying hunter, rather than simply stalking and hoping for the best. Because right now, I think he's one of the killers who's been left behind. Actually, I think he is the killer who has been left behind the most out of them all. Um, so yeah, that's my list. That's my top five list of killers that I think desperately need some sort of rework in Dead by Daylight. Do you agree? did I leave someone out? Maybe you think that someone else deserves a spot in the top five. Or maybe you think all of these killers are completely fine, and that's absolutely fine also. But yeah, do let me know your opinions on this in the comments below, because I'm always interested to see what everyone else thinks. And if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you all for watching, everyone. And again, just to note, these are just opinions. They're not absolutely die hard, this needs to be done kind of thing. So take everything with just like a pinch, you know? But yeah, again, take care, everyone. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.